Good evening. Welcome to the Town Council Special Meeting, March the 4th, 2021. Can I get a roll call, please?
Buckholz present.
Holloway present.
Bennett present.
Grossman present?
Fulmer present.
Let it be known we've established a quorum. Item 2, public comments, agenda items only, 3 minutes. Ms. Libby?
Beth Walker.
Hi, can you all hear me okay?
No, come up to
Over
the-
there? Should I
yep.
go this way? Okay, I'm Beth Walker, representing the Cape Charles Rosenwald School Restoration Initiative. We do have a letter from the full board that the clerk's going to read into the record, but I just wanted to let you know that Charles Williams and I are here to answer any questions you might have, and to just thank you for considering this conveyance that we talked about a little over a year ago, I think.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. You have anything else, Libby?
I have one that was submitted in writing. May I take this down?
Yep.
This is from Tevye Williams Griffin, the current president of the Cape Charles Rosenwald School Restoration Initiative. It says, Honorable Mayor William Dyson, Cape Charles Town Council. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Cape Charles Rosenwald School Restoration Initiative, Inc., this letter is written to express appreciation of the continued support of our organization and its mission. Specifically, the board extends our gratitude for the sale of public land to the initiative located adjacent to our property at 1200 Old Cape Charles Road. We see this beautiful area as an extension of the indoor spaces used for innovation, learning, gathering, and discussion. The open space will provide additional opportunities for meditation and events. The board envisions an interpretive walking trail, a public art element, and a nod to the rich history of the school and its community with an annual May Day festival. To say we are excited and ready to advance is an understatement. This purchase will move us closer to our goal and bode favorably as we begin a rigorous funding campaign. As in the past, the board will continue to keep the town of Cape Charles abreast of our progress as we move forward. With kindest regards and appreciation, Tevye Williams Griffin.
That it? Thank you. Okay, item 3A, health insurance renewal presentation.
So, Mayor, this is your annual presentation, and Jody's going to, she has a slideshow she'd like to show you and some breaking news.
So I start the timer, she still gets 3 minutes, right?
I'll get you home in time for dinner. Is it okay? I'm afraid you're not going to hear me if I take my mask off. or-
You can take
Fine.
it. Take it off.
Okay, I don't go anywhere.
I'll just scoop.
First, I just really want to say thank you to all of you and to John for your leadership this year. This has been an unprecedented, challenging year, as we all know, and your support and leadership has really gotten us through, so thank you. And thank you for your support and our benefits. It's much appreciated. Okay, health insurance renewal. Go. Okay, so for the past 2 years, we've been covered by Allied. Allied uses the Cigna network. We moved to that in 2019 to a self-funded plan, away from what you typically are used to. We went self-funded. There is a stop loss, of course, that prevents us being liable for any large claims. And it is a very cost-effective way for smaller organizations to save money on their premiums. It used to be it was only something for large companies. In the past, 5 years, it's become more common for smaller organizations to go self-funded.
So with our claim history this past year, Allied imposed a very large increase in our premiums. So we knew that renewing with Allied was probably not going to be the most cost-effective approach. Plus, when you go through open enrollment, you're always doing due diligence. You look at everything out there. There's also, I did a survey, I don't know, a couple months ago, a month and a half ago, to get feedback on what employees really wanted. And one thing I heard over and over again was the issues with the prescriptions. They changed their vendors in July, and ever since then, a lot of things aren't covered. So, and prescriptions can be very expensive. Their customer service was not very good. I won't go into that. I think part of that was coronavirus, because the employees are all working from home, but you have like too many cooks in the kitchen. So we were kind of excited to move away from Allied. And Anthem, we've had Anthem since I've been here. Their employees are very familiar with it. So it's like putting on an old shoe. It's a very comfortable, we're going back to Anthem. Yay, it's the known. So we're proposing that we go back to Anthem, but we want to stay with the level funded, self-funded type of insurance plans. That's going to save us money. Of course, we're always hoping for good claim year that will help us next year. This year, we were kind of in the right place at the right time with Anthem. It's very interesting. We didn't have a great claim year. However, Anthem kind of looked at like a whole picture. And because of coronavirus, people weren't going to the doctor and they weren't getting surgeries and they just weren't getting a lot of things done that they might have normally done that would have increased claims. So we ended up getting some very, very good quotes with Anthem. And I was doing a little dance in the town hall because it's good for the town and it's good for our employees. So we're going to see in the next few slides about how we will have a cost-effective plan this year. Just by the way, we're staying with Delta Dental. The premiums have not changed, and we will still continue to have a flexible savings account, voluntary vision, and we offer the Aflac products. That's also voluntary. So last year at this time, we predicted that the annual cost was going to be $227,522 based on 28 employees. Actually, it came in almost $7,000 less, so we ended up spending this year. And you're wondering, well, why is that? We spent less than we predicted. Well, there's two reasons. One is, if you remember last year, we offered a $500 FSA to employees who took a lower cost plan. And a lot of employees, I was surprised, but not surprised, that they decided, yeah, I'll go with a higher deductible plan. I'll go with a plan that has less bells and whistles because I never go to the doctor. I don't have a lot of health things going on, and I want that $500, which they can use for dental and vision and prescriptions and copays. And that ended up being more, people did that than I thought they would. And we've had some attrition. So we've had some employees that left and came back, and so overall, we came in at $220,542. We've learned that there's, I think, two very important things that boost morale and help employees to save money, and that was the $500 FSA, because that's coming out of the town's fund and not their own pocket. And then the other thing was the $100 monthly subsidy for dependents. We cannot thank you enough for 2 years ago going with that. As a matter of fact, this year, because we're able to offer, sort of affordable premiums for people with dependents, based on what I'm projecting, we're going to have several employees that are going to go ahead and add their children to the plan this year, based on what I'm seeing so far. And this will help us next year, because age is what the insurance companies look at, and we have an age demographic, myself included. So by getting people to add their children on, it brings down our rates. So you spend a little money to save a little money. So the cost of an employer-funded FSA ends up being less cost than the premium of the higher deductible plan. So that's a great way that we can save money. And then, again, the subsidy helps to offset payroll deduction costs for the employees with dependents. So, okay, so the new plan here, in a little nutshell here, with Anthem, we can offer 3 plans. We did not have the option to offer 3 plans the past 2 years. We could only offer 2. So plan 1 is going to be the gold plan. That's the rich plan. It has the lowest deductible, $500. I have not seen that since 2016. It has an out-of-pocket max of $6,000, which is about, it's lower than I'm seeing in a lot of other plans. It sounds like a lot of money, but that's how insurance companies work. And then your co-insurance is 20% across the board. And if you go to your primary care physician, you have an earache or poison ivy, it's $25. And you can see for Plan 2 and Plan 3, those co-pays, co-insurance co-pays are a little bit higher. But this year, it was $35. So for Plan 2 and Plan 3, it's only $5 more. And then the specialist, the co-pays. And then you can see down there the employee-only premium, which is what the town pays for employees. Now, did I miss a slide? Sorry. Okay. Comparing the 2 plans. So last year we had Cigna, and this year we have Anthem. And I think the numbers speak for themselves. You can see that by moving to Anthem, we are going to be saving money overall, but we're also able to offer, I think, better benefits with Anthem. And again, just looking at the very bottom line of that employee-only premium, it's significantly less than what we've been paying this year. So the medical insurance cost savings, again, what we actually spent is this current plan year that's ending at the end of March, $220,542, and then the proposed cost for this coming year would be $165,990. So for the medical, we're looking at around $54,500 savings. Now, please do understand that there's going to be some variance because, you know, we've talked about this in the past. There's the crystal ball. I cannot know 100% where things are going to fall. I have a fairly good idea because I've met with all of the employees to date. But at the same time, you know, you don't know. Somebody might not sign up for the FSA. Somebody might, you know, they don't need to have the vision. It's hard to say. But, you know, we're looking, this is pretty close.
Or to put it another way, that's 20% of the deficit right there.
I was just doing the same math.
I did that as well. You have trained us very well, Ms. Rosie. I'm over here going, no, 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 no.
We have to get to the end of the presentation. Don't get ahead
We've
of
already
yourself.
spent that.
Oh, yes, I have some other things I'd like to say. All right, so what about the real benefits? This is what is on the employee side. So what we're proposing, what we're asking for is that that we continue to cover the employee-only premiums at 100%. I think we can continue to do that this year. Now, I don't know, you know, every year is different. But I do think that today we'll be able to do that. It's really, it's such a benefit. And now in doing the recruiting, and we've been through so many interviews. I mean, we hired a lot of people this year, a lot. And those benefits, and we had one police officer who came to us because of our benefits. That's why he came to Cape Charles. So it's really an important recruiting tool, and especially, you know, when things have been tough this year. So, and then again, we would like to give employees who enroll in the higher deductible plans, Plan 2 and Plan 3, a $500 funded FSA. Again, if you just do the math, Plan 2 costs this, FSA costs this. It is less expensive for them to have the FSA than to have the higher plan. The one thing that I'm gonna propose as being a little new this year is that we have this Plan 3, and that is the $4,000 deductible plan. And I could choose from a lot of plans. I mean, there were a lot of plans to choose from, so how do you choose 3? And I was really hesitant on offering a $4,000 deductible plan, but the premiums are so good on that, and it's no different than Plan 2, which has the $2,500 deductible. I wanted employees to have an opportunity, for those of our employees who really paycheck to paycheck, and that is a large chunk of money out of their paycheck. By going on the $4,000 deductible plan, they're gonna have the most money in their paycheck every other week. And it is still a very rich plan. It's still what we have, it's a point of access plan. It is open access point of service, meaning you don't meet your deductible unless you really get hurt or have surgery or end up with pneumonia in the hospital. When you go to the doctor, you pay a copay. It doesn't go towards your deductible. If you go to anything with an ologist, cardiologist, gastroenterologist, you pay a copay. It doesn't go towards your deductible. You get into deductible when you start getting to, you really need like emergency help or you're having some kind of surgery. So employees that are knowing ahead of time that they have a lot going on or that they have surgery, the lower deductible plan is going to be the most cost effective. Surprisingly, not surprisingly, the 4 employees that are taking the $4,000 deductible plan. So what we're proposing is that if you have dependents, that you also get a $500 deductible FSA. Now there's really no cost savings to the town for that. So you have 4 people that would benefit from that. And the reason is that's a high deductible. And by giving $500 of FSA, we bring that right back to where we were this year, $3,500. 4,000 minus the 500, 3,500. And they can use that to help with their co-pays or if they have to go to an urgent care. So that is a way to help the employees that have the children on that plan. And again, the town doesn't save any money, but in a way they do, because what's happening is we've got employees who want to put their kids on the plan. They're all under the age 26, they have to be. That's the prime market. That's who insurance carriers want. They want the young people because you pay the premiums and they don't get sick that often. They don't have a lot of issues. So we have also, in the past, we have given raises to employees who enroll in Medicare. And we cover enough for them to be able to afford their Medicare premiums, and we give them, again, FSA and a dental kind of stipend for a spouse or a child, and that is still significantly lower than what we would pay even for the least expensive plan. And it's written in a contract to them that it can never go above. If Medicare prices also go through the roof, they can only get up to the, there are reasons that this is good for them, and okay, and then the last thing, we've always given a $500 funded FSA to any employee who waives health insurance, and we've given them dental and vision subsidies. We have several employees who are covered, we have one that's covered by TRICARE, and if a lot of these plans, if you get off of them, you can never get back on. And so they want to stay where they are, so they don't want to get off of TRICARE. Federal government, you might have to pay a premium on your own. We're not paying that for them, but they know if they ever get off of that, they'll never be able to get back on. So this is really just we're not paying their insurance, so this is something that helps them out a little bit. And it's not uncommon to do. So, okay, so how does this look for the employee? Just to give you some numbers. So the employees that have children, most of the employees that have dependents is employee and children. So I'm using that as an example. So employees with children that are covered by their insurance plan who move from Cigna's $3,500 deductible to that $4,000 deductible are going to save $70 a pay period. That is $18.20 a year. And they'll have $500 in FSA to spend. So happy, happy. Employees with children who move from the $3,500 deductible plan to the Plan 2, the $2,500 deductible plan, they're gonna save $42 per pay period. So they're gonna have a better plan with a lower deductible, lower copay, co-insurance, all of that, and they're still gonna save over $1,000 a year. So, it's good. Okay, so now we need to take into account, first, John was like, there's 20% of the deficit, yay! And now let's talk about how we're gonna come to a nice happy medium. We're gonna get close to the deficit. But let's talk about what I was saying about what we can do for the employees. So last year, the annual cost with all of this added in, FSAs, $100 subsidies, all of that, our annual cost is $250,318. This year, all added in, it's $207,228. So we're looking at $43,089 savings. That is a 17.2% decrease. So, Debbie and I kind of sat down and talked about the budget and, this funding, and we both think that, we could possibly have some turnover in the upcoming year. We have some employees that I know personally are starting to talk about retirement. They're not covered by the plan, they're covered by Medicare. And if they leave and we need to replace them, we could very well get an employee that wants full insurance. So we have to kind of keep that in our mind. I also put the numbers in there that will cover the planner when we get the planner. So, we're looking at, so those numbers that you see are based on what I proposed, 26 employees. So, okay, and then
I love it.
every year
Hysterical.
I give you a new one.
I love it. It's very good.
Anybody?
So this 43,089 is after you take some of the money out for?
No, that is like the whole savings, and then Debbie and I were thinking maybe, 20,000.
Bonus.
So, but I mean, we just would like to put that in a contingency fund.
Well, that's gonna, in my mind, gonna be left up to budget preparations
Yep.
Yeah.
and how you decide to spread whatever.
Right?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's,
The other thing too is, so with our self-funded plan that we have right now, unfortunately, I get the claim history report at the end of every month. It's not anything with people, I don't know anything, it's not personal, I just see numbers. And unfortunately, I could not access it today because we didn't have any internet. So I don't know, I guess I could have looked it up at home, but I was in a rush. We might have some money left over from what we put in, because we had a self-funded plan. We might have, I think we had, at one time we had 80 grand, and then we were down to 60 grand. And I don't know, we've had a couple bad months, so I don't know. Our broker thinks it's wiped out, but we could have some in there, and we split that with Ally. And so we could have, and that, but I'm not talking about that because that is not a definite, but that would be something that we could put towards contingency, for example. So,
again, I agree with Mr. Grossman. That's up to Mr. Hosey to present us at the time for budgets.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
Great job,
Yep.
as usual.
Thank you very much.
thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Okay.
Nope.
All right,
Awesome.
staff recommends that town employees move back to the coverage of Anthem effective April 1st, 2021. Staff recommends that we maintain the same benefit structures as last year's plan, 2020 and 2021. Staff also recommends that council approve the changes as outlined in Exhibit A. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much, Jody.
Thank you
Really
all very
appreciate it.
much.
So thank you.
Great job, Dave.
Yes, very good.
Awesome. All right. Item 3B, real property disposal.
So, Mr. Mayor, this is a concept that we wanted to just bring toward, to you, to just get your blessing as to whether or not you approve the concept. We're not approving any actual transaction here. This is just to, make sure that you're on board, that you know about it, before we do any more work on it. So essentially, we have, that big parcel over there where, the Rosenwald School and the wastewater plant is. It's currently under a very long-term lease with Southfield. So, status quo, we wouldn't have access to any of that property till mid-30s, 38, 36. Southport, though, is a big fan and supporter of the Rosenwald Initiative, and so they were working with them to try and figure out a way that they could access some of that property for their purposes and their programs. And so they approached the town, but then that would only work for as long as they had the lease. So they approached the town about whether we would be willing to convey a portion of that parcel to the school initiative. And in return, they would immediately terminate the lease, which means the town gets immediate access to that property. So all the parties sat down and discussed what was needed. The diagram in the packet shows the parcel, and the outlined in yellow is the portion that we would propose get conveyed to the school initiative. Now, what you might notice is that north of that yellow line by the water plant, especially on the west side of that, that's property. We have to reserve some of that for a future retaining pond should we ever expand, but we don't need all of that. So there is some usable property there on the northwest portion of that parcel that we could access immediately if needed. But then there's also a nice plot of land right there on road frontage on the south part of the parcel. The extreme east end of it is a little swampy, but the west end is could be a nice building site. So we see this as a real win-win proposition. We support the whole concept of the school renovation and what they're trying to do there. So it helps them, helps us. And so the town recommends that we continue. But the process is now we have to get the subdivided, and we have to go through several processes. So before we do any more work on it, I want to make sure, one, you're aware of it, two, that you're okay with it.
The dark line that's drawn over top of this,
That's the RPA. That's the area that's not developable, which is why that's drawn. Why the yellow is kind of drawn that way. Basically, we're giving them all of the RPA because we couldn't do anything with it anyway. But they want to clean it up and use it as a part of their trails.
Mhm.
And
so it can't be built on.
so can't be built
Yeah,
on.
part of it's wetlands too, right? Down on the west side.
Well, the RPA is 100 feet from the shoreline. So it's a very unusual piece of property. They're very cut up, a lot of wetlands. See that?
Yeah, I can see, I
that
can
section
see,
in the
I can
middle
see the
is,
topo. I can see the topo. Now, didn't we give some of the land to them down here on the south side? In between the old that corner lot? And then I thought
That's what we're talking about
We-
doing now.
we-
And I think
I
we-
thought- We've talked about it in the I past, thought but we did do that. it's always been under lease, so we couldn't. All right.
yeah, it's been talked about in the past, but
Yeah.
now-
Oh, I
now
thought we
have
already
the
did it.
opportunity to move forward.
No, we had done it.
All right. I mean, it was like 2-3 years ago,
Yeah.
I believe. It was a while ago. Be nice if we could get that corner cleaned up too, but
I knew that was coming up.
for 280,000.
Exactly.
Just a runaway bulldozer for maybe 5 minutes.
I guess the question I have really is, perhaps because of the trails, but I was looking, truncating this, and rather than giving that wetlands area over, why wouldn't you just give the driveway in and truncate at the back of their Rosenwald School property now, just come across?
Because they wanted it, and we can't
Well, and all I'm asking is, what are they going to use it for?
Can I,
You wanna add- you wanna add to that?
I would love to,
Says
maybe
right
turn
here.
around.
Sure.
Yeah, so they can hear you on.
Well, without getting too flowery, but, we have, a lot of plans to have some outdoor activities. And one of the things we want to create is a path, sort of symbolic for, I don't know, the different paths people take and the different obstacles people have. So we really want to create a winding trail through there with some art and some exhibits that are outdoor that will hopefully be meaningful to a large group of people. And so, we kind of like the fact that it's low and dark in places, and then you come out and it's brighter, and these are just ideas that we have that we think will beautify that land and be meaningful.
So you've looked and said, I can create paths through there without disturbing the wetland portion, requiring bridges, or
I think we can probably, we may need a bridge. I don't think that will be a problem.
Okay, all I'm asking you, you've been through there to know what is back there, to understand that, yes, I can make that useful to my
Right,
purpose.
and even if it just comes out upon a vista of, the wetlands, it's, yeah, we think it's quite beautiful, or could be, with not too much work.
Can they put up non-permanent structures in the RPA? I mean, just so, I mean, you gotta be aware of it.
There are water convention structures that are permanent. They can do things like boardwalks.
Pathways.
Yeah, all right.
But it's 100-foot wide buffer. It's not, the RPA is not wetlands. It's a 100-foot buffer from the wetlands. And the nice thing about their initiative is that, if you don't know the history of that site, where the wastewater plant was built was one of the main dump sites in the town years and years and years ago. That big mound just before the tower is all of the unsuitable material we had to dig out of that site, just to build up. If you have the time to walk back there, you'll find some remnants of the dump. There's a whole bunch of old refrigerators and washing machines and stuff like that in the wetlands.
A lot of vintage bottles.
A lot of stuff in there. So, we see a great benefit to that,
Yeah,
having them clean that up.
yeah.
People back there digging.
I will say that, assuming that we can gather in May, we propose to have our annual event in May. This year, we would like to get some dumpsters and get some volunteers and get in there and start cleaning it up as our first on-site
Yeah,
event. Yeah.
that'd be great.
Well, I'm totally in favor of it.
Me too.
Ditto.
That's all I'm looking for, is consensus to move forward.
Absolutely.
Okay? All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Well, item 4, Mr. Hosey, you're up.
Okay. Well, big news this week is that we got the strategic plan out on the street. So that was released on Monday. And we tried to disseminate as widely as possible. Clerk put out a special gazette on Facebook. And did grudgingly do a video as suggested, and not my thing, but I did.
You're such a good sport.
Anyway, I looked just before coming over here, it had 140 views so far, so.
Oh, good, good.
It's getting out there. So as we talked about, we have a input session on March 13th at 2 o'clock. It'll be we're calling it an input session, not calling it a public hearing, but it will strongly resemble a public hearing. And the reason we're calling it that is just for posting requirements. We don't want to get hung up on legal requirements of the public hearing, but it's going to resemble that format. We are going to limit in building participation presentation to 10 members of the public at a time. The governor did not reduce his indoor gathering restrictions, and in fact, kind of muddied the waters with the government exemption. Where before we had a solid government exemption, now he put a proviso in there that makes it even more murkier. So we'll have staff here to help manage it, and if need be, we'll just kind of cycle people in to, stay for as long as it takes to hear everybody. There will be no deliberation at that time because people won't be around to hear it. So we'll hold off on deliberation. We'll schedule a work session at the regular meeting of March 18th, and that's your opportunity to consider all the public comment and offer adjustments as needed. If you are comfortable with it at that time, you can come out of the work session and approve it. If it's extensive and you want more time, we'll delay it. But that's an option for you. If the revisions are not unmanageable, you do have the option to actually approve it after we come out of work session on the 18th. So that's where we are with the strategic plan. I've since moved on to my next highest priority, which is just Historic District Review Board, ordinances and guidelines and all of that. I've been plowing through that, and I'm going to request some time with Councilman Grossman early next week, pick his brain on that, and so I'm well into that project next. Also, I submitted a letter to the editor to the Post with regard to two recent letters to the editor regarding our unsolicited proposals to acquire our utilities. The letter was accepted and will be published, but the editor said that she wasn't sure whether she could squeeze it into tomorrow's edition or not. So if it's not in tomorrow's, it'll be in following weeks. But I did submit one very similar to the response to the email that you all saw. And I think that's it. Oh, the only other thing is that if there's no objection, I'm going to take tomorrow off. It's been dry for a whole week. It's going to be dry all weekend. I got a lot of outdoor work I got to get done. So
Yeah,
that's all I have.
I don't think that's a problem. All right, thank you very much. 5, mayor and council comments. I think I'm gonna go first tonight. I would like to, really, I don't have a whole lot, but I would really like to say, I really appreciate, town council, the planning commission, all the staff, all the hard work that went into the strategic, planning session and the plan that's come out of it. I think it's a good plan. I think we've got some hurdles to climb as far as how we're going to pay for it, but I do believe it's a good plan, and I think it's in our best interest to look at it for the future of our town. So thank you all very much for all the hard work, the time, and everything you put into it. So I appreciate it. So thank you. So that's about all I've got.
Okay. All right, I guess I'm going first. To reiterate that, thank you. Thank you, John, for your leadership on it. It's really been exciting to watch us, to see the group come together and really focus on strategy in a way we haven't had the opportunity to do in the past as a town. Especially, I'd like to thank, there was a lot of work, not just the 3 full days that went into it by John and staff, but also the planning commission spending so much time with us, and especially the staff that spent time with us. To me, that's really critical as we talk about implementation moving forward. And I guess just to reiterate, we really, really want everybody's input into this. So we had this group, planning commission, staff, but that's still not gonna probably represent every single person in our community. So if you don't think your views are reflected either among that population or in the document you see, please, we're not looking for a rubber stamp. We really want everyone to weigh in on this and buy in on this. So if we're headed in the right direction, we wanna know that too. If we've missed some things, please let us know. We really do not intend this to be something that sits on a shelf and is never used. It's going to be a living document. So please, I think John has presented it in a format that's, it won't take too much of your time. It's pretty easy to read. And we'd really appreciate residents taking the time to look at us and weigh in on what they want for the future of our town. Thank you.
March 8th, town manager performance evaluation input from council. Just a reminder. That's all.
So, okay, I'd just like to echo the thoughts from the mayor and Councilman Fulmer with regard to the strategic plan. I've been on council for 12 years. We've gone through this evolution a couple of times since I've been on council. We've never gotten further than the brainstorming session, and then the brains kind of dried up, and nothing ever came of it. So I'm quite excited about where we are and where we're headed. The fact that we've got someone in the seat now that is going to ensure that this gets taken forward, and then it'll be up to us to make it work. Not only us, but everybody. So it's particularly important that we get public input. It is a shame that we cannot get a large group of people together. That when we had the working group in here for the parking on the streets, there was 50 people. It was a great session, and it would be so good to have that again. I look forward to those days. But all the good things that come from that are great. The strategic plan will inform the budget, will inform the comprehensive plan, so it all dovetails together moving forward. On the flip side, it has uncovered and reinforced the fact that we've been in a deficit spending mode in years of late, and it's come now to be time to pay the piper. So there's going to be some pain that comes with it as well. So that notwithstanding, I'm very encouraged by where we're headed and appreciate, John, the work you've done to get us to this point.
I obviously concur with those pieces, and in particular the last part, Steve, because I think it's important for people as they look at it and read and digest what we work through. There are priorities that we as a group, from this diverse group of constituents, felt were necessary, but it is going to take some difficult decisions to prioritize and make those happen. And so I encourage the public that's hopefully listening that they look at that and they're aware kind of doing that. When you come to a place where you're finally doing something at this level and magnitude, you're sure to uncover some things that maybe you haven't been doing exactly right all along. And I think we need to be braced for those difficult decisions. I want to encourage my fellow council, if you're on Facebook, to go to the municipal page and share that video and information. It's the best way for us to get our part-time citizens and all of those people involved. Anybody here today, please do that. If any groups you're involved with, if your churches, the Bay Creek community, try to get it out. We just sent it to the Northampton Comprehensive Plan, and the Cape Charles Plan is going out tomorrow to the businesses. We talked about it at our Main Street Connect meeting, but there's many conversations as we can have. You know, it's always the last minute that people read something and find something out. And at our Main Street Connect meeting, they asked a question, and I was like, I don't know if that's in there. So it's good to kind of get us stimulated to do that. Separate from strategic planning, congrats to Public Works. If you haven't driven on Washington Avenue or Mason Avenue and seen the new signs, they're little mini lampposts with our street signs, and they look absolutely wonderful. I'm so excited. I was on my walk today. I almost tripped. I was like, whoa. They look really, really great. I have a picture if anybody would like to see it. So congratulations to John Lockwood and all his hard work in making that happen. It was in the middle of COVID. I remember him sending me the pictures, and poor John had been here like 2 weeks. So to see it actually happen, I was, the crazy lady that gets excited over signs and lampposts, So thank you. Please pass that along to John directly. I will as well.
Don't forget, you get excited with bathrooms.
I
too.
do. I'm a really scary person, bathrooms and signage.
All right, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse on this one. I concur with everything that was said, but we definitely need public input. So the more people we can get involved with this, the better off we're gonna be, so everybody's on the same page.
All right.
Paul,
well,
thanks for the reminder.
Yes.
I have it printed out.
well, Not anything else? Nobody has anything else? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you all very much.